The most valuable thing you can do as an artist is finding your own voice and your own style. The way I did that is just by, I wouldn't say copying other people, but stealing stuff. Gawx, 170 centimeters of pure epicness. He makes videos, he draws, he loves green. Lately, I've had one obsession. Creating an artwork where I mix all of my passions together. Today, I will be creating.
Where do you draw the line? Should I go with my own flow and my style, or should I listen to my audience?
If people don't like it, well, it's my video, so I can do it.
Do you pay at all any attention to the algorithms, to the 2-second hook, the 3-second hook, or no? You just care about story.
If I make something I really like, it will find its people. The connections will be a little bit deeper because the audience sees this isn't made for the algorithm.
If you want to start a video tomorrow, how would you start?
I imagine how will the video look, and I draw each shot. For the last one, it was like 300 drawings.
What's your biggest failure?
That's a very difficult question. My biggest failure.
I think we should start a little bit light. I want to know the origin of and today. Gawx, welcome to the Bad Decisions podcast.
Thank you.
You guys should do it. You guys should do it.
Thank you very
anyways.
much. Thank you.
I do this to Farhad every time now, and he has to like reach
I'll
out.
have to extend. I'm going to switch my position with you next time.
That's wonderful. Thank you for having me. I'm excited here in Dubai.
Absolutely, yeah. Welcome to Dubai, man.
Thank you. I love it here. It's like a different planet. It's
What have you liked so far about Dubai since you've arrived?
well, I've been here for like a full day.
Okay.
Most of it was sleeping because I was so jet lagged. But I love first of all, the weather, and also the people are so nice. Like
Yeah.
it's like everyone is your friend. I love that, and it's very easy going, and everything flows so smoothly, and it's wonderful.
I mean, you definitely need more than a day.
Yeah, of
But-
course. What
but-
I've felt so far.
I tell you something. The weather, you came at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Right now, Dubai's weather
It's
is
the
just
best. It would be amazing from, I would say, October all the way to April.
Okay.
We'll have an amazing weather here. Whereas most of the world will have snow during this time, we
Yeah.
are in a perfect weather.
Yeah. It's because it's not too hot. It's not too cold. Well, not cold at all. I love it, and also the skyline from the hotel. It looks insane. It looks almost made by AI. It's so incredible. It's
like
so
a
good.
mid-journey photo in real
Yeah.
life.
I sent a photo to my parents, and they were like, "Oh, is this AI?" No, it's my skyline. It's so crazy.
And you know, if you come back again next year, it'll look different because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
building
Oh, they're
everything
building
so,
so
fast.
fast.
Have you seen like the time-lapse videos of when it was all sand and then boom, all the buildings are just rising in like 20 years?
I haven't seen, but I have. I did some research
Yeah.
on Dubai. And it's crazy how fast everything is built. Like
Yeah.
from the view from my hotel, you can see like a field.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in 1 year there's gonna
It's going to be
building.
different. Next year you come back, there is something else in that.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's very different from Mexico City, which is where I live now. Like both things have their strengths, but this is crazy. It's insane.
We're very glad to have you.
Thank you.
And me and Farah have a lot of questions. We're going to get really deep.
That's
But I think we should start a little bit light.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a question that me and Farad had since we started watching your videos.
Okay.
And I want to know the origin of, and today I have to know the origin of that
Yeah.
because first of all, you have such great range in your voice. And it's such a cool thing that a lot of your videos start with that. It's become so unique.
Yeah.
I want to know the origin of it.
Well, I started very young making videos. I started when I was 14.
Wow.
I'm 21 now, so it's 7 years.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, like my voice was very high pitched and also it was crazy. Like I had these voice cracks which were natural. So when I used to do my voiceovers, like I just embraced them.
Yeah.
And they became part of like
The videos.
the vibe of my videos. And now as I'm getting older, it's still high pitched, but it's getting a little bit deeper. So today, that was a normal so today. So today, that was like it used to come to me naturally.
Yeah.
Because when I used to do my voiceovers in my early videos, it used to be very high energetic, so they would come naturally, and they stayed. So it became like a signature style thing for my channel. Now it's a little bit difficult to make them because now I'm forcing myself to do this out today. But it's like the signature. Oh, you're watching a Gawx art video.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, of course.
How many recordings of that voice do you have in your hard drives from all the years that you were doing the videos? Because you did voiceovers of it too.
7 years.
Yeah.
So it's
Easily I have, I don't know, more than 500.
wow.
And if you search for them, you can actually find So Today compilations on YouTube.
Oh, shit.
It's crazy.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You should use that in the intro of this podcast. It's
Yeah.
So Today compilation.
I mean, what I love about it is going back to your videos, right? The authenticity of it, as you mentioned, right? It became part of your videos and you embraced it. And I think a lot of creators fail to do that. I have certainly myself failed to do that sometimes. You look at some of the creators, they try to hide, their true personality, and you clearly show it. And if you just look into the comment section, you can see that. Right? People truly see the genuine you in your videos, which is, I think, what makes your videos really special.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, like I've always been my Instagram journey, because it started on Instagram. Like I just wanted to show my art to my friends. So I created that Instagram to post art for my school friends, and it grew. And as more people started coming in, like I became friends with them. So I've always tried to show my real self. Of course, I don't share my real name or my real location, just because some things need to stay private. But when it comes to personality, I think it's very valuable to show who you are, because that differentiates you from the rest of the creators. And I think it's very valuable, a very nice thing to do.
And that's exactly, I think, how you stand out, because every person is unique. And if you truly show your uniqueness, you can easily be distinguishable among all the creators. You mentioned you started 7 years ago on Instagram. What was the reason to go really hard on the videos and start posting and sharing with your friend? Because 7 years is quite a long time.
Yeah, well, I've always had an interest in video too. I come from a quite artistic family. My parents are musicians. My grandpa used to paint. So it has always been in my, it's a little bit cliche, but in my blood. Like everyone is kind of artistic, and I used to love to play with my old iPod Touch and make videos in reverse and stuff. So I thought that blending the two worlds would be so much fun, like blending the art and the video, which I loved, and also, of course, getting inspired by a lot of YouTubers. For example, the one who inspired me the most is a YouTuber named Gawx from Belgium. He's now a good friend of mine, and it's crazy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have one thing that I want to ask you about school. So, because we're going back, so let's go back all the way. When you were in school, were you good at mathematics, sciences, all these other things? Because you come from a family of artists.
Yeah.
Did your parents care how you scored, and were you actually good at them, or were you just focused on art?
No, yeah, I was. I went to a very kind of difficult middle school.
Okay. Why difficult?
It was
Like strict? Was it very strict? Or?
It was very strict. Yeah, it was a Swiss school in Mexico.
Wow.
So it was like the Swiss system, and it was very challenging to me. Like I think that's where I learned to work hard.
Okay.
Interesting.
Everything. Yeah, and I also used to swim a lot.
Okay.
Like in competitions, and that's also where I learned like the discipline and the hard work stuff. But yeah, my parents were very interested in me having a good education. And I was also I wasn't the best in mathematics.
Yeah.
But I tried I tried my best. And in high school, that's where YouTube kind of blew up. And I started my notes started decreasing a little bit. So in my last semester, I said, okay, I'm gonna take a short break, get my grades back up, and
Right.
then I'll start posting again after I finish.
I see. At this time, was your YouTube doing well?
Yeah, it was doing.
Okay.
Oh, so you took a break from your YouTube to study while your YouTube was doing well.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was like I had the pandemic, so
Okay.
Okay.
2 years of my high school, which were 3 years,
Mhm.
I had it at home.
Okay.
So
see.
that 2 years I was so focused on because I was at home all day and school was very light. So I used to dedicate myself just to make my videos, and school was like a side thing,
Yeah.
which it was fairly simple. Like at home, like you go to your classes, do your homework. It was very easy.
Yeah, it's online.
Yeah, I was online. But then when I went back in person, that was because I was used to the online life.
Yes.
And it became very hard. So I thought it would be worth it just to focus on school, take a break from YouTube because it was doing great, but I was a little bit stuck on doing the same thing over and over again. So it was a nice break because when I went back, it was like a fresh start. And that's when my YouTube started evolving more.
I see.
Yeah.
Would you say, had you not taken that break, that your YouTube wouldn't be as successful?
Maybe my YouTube would be as successful or even more successful, but I don't think I would be as happy with the work.
I see.
wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Sometimes you need the break.
Yes, 100%.
Sometimes you need the break to reflect and think and go back with a new, fresh perspective. That's interesting. But it was sort of like a forced break, right? Because grades were not doing so well. You had to go back and visit it.
I had to finish high school. I could not graduate.
Was there pressure from parents?
Not really. They have always been really supportive. So they said you just need to pass with a acceptable grade.
Yeah.
Because school is the number one thing.
Yes.
And I also had I needed to do well. It's also like shameful if you don't do well.
Yeah.
And I was also interested in doing well, so it was like a teamwork with my parents. Like,
Yes.
they
A teamwork with my parents to finish high school.
to finish high school.
Everybody help me, we're gonna finish high school
Yeah,
now.
everybody. Let's.
We're all
finish
going to
high-
get together. I'm going to get good grades.
Actually, there was a teamwork also to finish your studies
It's a very
too.
similar story.
Yeah.
I'm thinking mine happened, but for university level, I was working in the gaming industry. My grades started just plummeting the moment I started working because I was making money here.
Yeah.
I was paying university here. It
Yeah.
didn't make sense. And when I went to school, my teachers were scolding me. But then when I went to work, everyone was praising me. And so I assume it was something similar with you. When you went on to YouTube, people are praising you for your work. When you go into school, the grades are plummeting. So you're feeling so much better here. It makes a lot of sense to spend more time on what you actually like. And so that's why it's interesting to me to ask you about this, to see how you maneuvered it, because so many kids out there who are watching this are dreaming of a similar life. They want to be artists. They want to have an audience that cares about their work, but they have to balance life. They have to balance school. And sometimes they don't get the benefit of COVID
Yeah.
to have 2-3 years at home studying online, so they have more time. So that's why it's very interesting how you dealt with it.
Yeah, but for example, in middle school, because I started in middle school. In middle school, like I would go in person every day, and every day I would make a new drawing and post it. Like I posted every day for like 2 years.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah. So it's all about balance. I would say for everyone who's listening, like school is first. Like I wish now it's a little bit biased because I'm in a pretty good position right now, but I wish I like paid more attention in certain classes and took more time to actually learn, because I kind of miss those days a little bit. So yeah, I would say balance is just key. Try to balance it as well as you can, but school is very important and education is very important. It goes a long way.
Do you think anything changed in your style when you go back, took a break, and finished high school, and then came back to your YouTube?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a 6 month break.
Okay.
So I like that last. It was my last semester in high school. I learned a lot. That like relationships with my friends, and also I started watching like more movies, different type of movies that I would not normally watch. I graduated. It was like this debate: should I go to university or should I do this full time? So I definitely learned a lot, and I came back like excited to make more videos and in a different way.
When you were making that decision to continue studying or to do this full time, you went full time with YouTube.
Yeah.
Or you're still deciding.
No. I was kind of scared to go full time.
Yeah.
I was like,
Why?
I don't know. You have like this. Everyone is going to university, and you're like, I'm not gonna study, which is kind of crazy. And in Mexico, it's very rare not to go to university to pursue this. Well, I guess all over the world, but in Mexico, it's so like it's a very traditional place. So I told myself, just like to reconfort, I'm gonna take a gap year. I was just, it was like saying, I'm not gonna study, but it was like, no, I'm taking a gap year. So the gap year now has been like 3 years long.
This is the bad decision, by the way. That's your bad decision. You know, the reason we call it bad decision is because the decisions that you make, that everybody thinks it's a bad decision, but you end up doing something great because you're risking something that you know you're going to be successful at the end.
Yeah.
But it's risky for other people, even for your parents, for your friends. It might be very risky in the beginning.
Because when you are going against the grain, when you're the exception, when you're part of the 1% who's doing things differently, whatever decision you make looks like a bad decision because other people don't understand it. And so you just have to work hard enough to prove to everybody that what you did was right. So at first it all looks like a bad decision, but then eventually people are like, you know what? Maybe he's onto something. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, of course. I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest, but yeah, of course, like those types of risks are risks, but if you don't take them, maybe you have the idea, I should have like taken a gap year, maybe something would have happened. And if I did well in that gap year, I think I would go back to school. Yeah, it was
How much of this was motivation for you to work really hard on your videos? Because if it didn't work out, if you didn't get the attention that you had, if you didn't create such beautiful pieces of content, then clearly at some point you had to throw in the towel and say, you know what, I think the gap year is over.
Time to become a doctor.
Yeah.
Dr. Gawx.
I don't know, but what was the alternative, by the way?
Well, the alternative was also risky. It was film school. So
Okay, all right.
it was risky.
It's not, okay, all right. Film school is good
No,
too.
but it's very different the way that now you have done it than going to
but it's like
film
not
school.
a doctor. Because for
yeah.
Iranians, right?
Yeah.
Originally Persian, it's either doctor,
Lawyer.
engineer, or lawyer.
Okay.
You can't do any of this shit, man. This doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's not in the book of
Okay.
parents when they look at like things that their sons can become. No, doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Yeah.
You know, Farah's first job he was in esports, so gaming. Every time he was gaming, my parents would like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm working." They were like, "No, you're
They
not.
didn't
working, You're
understand.
playing."
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when I was behind the computer, like, go and do something more productive. I'm like, no, this is work. This is work.
Yeah.
But it takes time for them to understand. And it's completely understandable because we live in a different era now, right? The businesses that you can create as a creator did not exist when our parents were young.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to, that's why, prove to everyone, to yourself first, then to your parents, your family, and then to your audience that you can do this. So how much of this pressure was motivation for you to wake up every day and say, you know what, I have to make a video. I have to do this.
Yeah, it was more because, of course, there was a little bit of pressure, but it was more because I was, like, after finishing high school, in a period where I was very motivated by the movies and the stuff I was watching. So I just wanted to create something. Like, I had that motivation to make something. That's also because I have the Gawx Art channel, and I also have a Gawx 2, and also Gawx another one. So I created those to also keep experimenting with my style and the stuff I could make. So I would say it was like 70% it was like my motivation, and I've also like worked very hard, maybe because of my school, because of the swimming, and because of my parents. That's why I've always been used to. So it was also in that. So I would say 70% it was my motivation, and 30 was like the pressure of actually succeeding, which of course there was pressure. But I thought if I did it with passion and love, that the other stuff would come if I work hard and I do it with passion.
Speaking of work hard, how do you balance the work and also non-working times? Okay. We know that you took a break for 6 months, but now that you're working for 3 years, have you taken any breaks, or is it everyday work?
It's almost everyday work. Sometimes after a big project, I might take a break, like a 1 week break. But it has been a mess. Like it used to be like work almost 100%.
Yes.
But now I try to block out, like plan my week. Like I will work from this time to this time, and then I will not think about work. I will relax. I will go for a walk, because what used to happen is when I wasn't working, I used to feel like guilty because because I was resting, and that's not healthy. Because or when I went to sleep at 11 p.m., which is like it's reasonable.
Yeah,
it was like, I should work until 2 a.m. So now I try to block times out, and maybe sometimes you need to work more, but I try to keep a balance.
You mentioned a few times now that you started watching different movies as a source of inspiration. What kind of movies are we talking about?
Like I really like dramas. I started watching old movies like from the 1980s, from like Poland and from Iran and from China.
From Iran too?
Yeah, there's a director called Abbas Kiarostami.
Oh yeah, wow, Kiarostami. Yeah. Our dad's favorite. He would love that. Yeah,
I love his movies, and those are like I discovered like this type of cinema that like goes against the conventional rules. For example, Kiarostami's movies are very slow.
Yes,
and he uses non-actors.
Yeah,
and like if you told that to I don't know to Hollywood, they would say, "Oh no, that doesn't work." Yeah, they would freak out, and those movies are the ones that like touch you the most, the ones that you feel the most. So I thought that I would do the same thing with my videos. Like I will leave the engaging storytelling and that kind of stuff aside, and I will do it and experiment as these directors do.
Wow. I found something really interesting based on what you just said, because we were watching actually a snippet of Abbas Kiarostami's movie just the other day. Okay. And there's a shot of the truck, and there's two people in the truck talking, and the camera's just following the truck for 5 minutes. And there's the dialogue just happening, and you're just watching this truck go slowly. And he's just testing your patience in a way, but you want to pay attention to what they're talking about. This is not usual in Hollywood films today. If you're watching
even
Avengers,
in Iranian cinema,
there's VFX happening every second to try to get you engaged. The same thing applies to YouTube, right? We have Mr. Beast, the biggest YouTuber right now, who's trying to hook you in every second with something explosive, which is fine. He does attract the largest audience. But then there's people like you who take their time with storytelling. So I can see where you're getting that inspiration. But the question I want to ask you is, do you pay at all any attention to the algorithms, to the 2-second hook, the 3-second hook, or no? You just care about story?
I mean, I think it's almost inevitable not to think about that.
Yeah.
But I try my best to make the videos for myself. And if I make something I really like, people will it will find its people and its audience, and the connections will be a little bit deeper, because like the audience sees this isn't made for the algorithm. Like this is someone who is making it because he wants to make it. But of course, sometimes I say, they will go out. They will leave the video in this section, because, for example, in the last video I made, the first 40 seconds. It's just music without dialogue or anything. And I was, people will like leave the video from and they actually appreciated that because it's like they feel like they are getting into the story and it needs to build. So I think about it a little bit because I was trained for that with all my years. I used to be very Mr. Beastie.
Yes.
Like a few before my break. But now I try to think about that as little as I can.
Do you consume also content on social media?
Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't have TikTok. I have it on my computer, so I don't really.
Wait,
use
is it true they're shutting down TikTok in the US?
There
I
is
saw a post, I don't
they're
know.
banning TikTok in US.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So you're good. You don't use it. But, I mean, it's in the US only, but I saw some news. It's just interesting. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. And Instagram, I try to use it as I only have it on my iPad, so it's horrible to use Instagram on my iPad. So I use it. I'm not gonna lie. I like to watch like reels from time to time, but the most I watch is YouTube.
Is it intentional that you have it only on the iPad so you don't?
Yeah, so that I
Doom
don't
scroll.
use.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea, actually. I should delete these apps on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's a very smart idea. I should keep it on my PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is so difficult to go against the habit of just pulling out your phone and just scrolling and scrolling. I mean, these social media platforms are specifically designed to keep you on for as long as possible.
Yeah, of course.
And so in one of your older videos, when you were sketching a lot, you mentioned that for inspiration for the characters, you go to Instagram and look at other people's posts. Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Clearly, yeah.
There is a fine line between going to social media and getting inspired or getting discouraged and demotivated.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. If I go to Gawx's channel and I watch 2 videos, 30 minutes, I'm inspired. I'm like, I can do this. If I watch 20 of your videos, I'll feel overwhelmed. I'm like scrolling on everything. I'm like, holy shit, how does this guy do all of this? I can't do it. There's no way he spent all this time. There's a fine line between motivation and discouragement. How do you draw that line?
It's difficult. It happens to me too. Like when I see, I don't know, like this crazy video from a young creator or this, I'm really into movies or a movie from a young creator. It's like, oh, I will never be able to do something like that. But I think you need to go with a different mindset. Like if you see something really impressive, maybe you can do it right now because you're just starting out. But if you grabbed 1 or 2 things that you really like, maybe there's 10 things that you like from that video. If you analyze it and see 2 things that you can add to your content, I think that's a valuable thing to do because you are learning and not getting like it's just trying not to get discouraged, but it's a hard advice. Like just see what you can do and what you can grab from that piece of content.
Don't take in too much.
Don't
right?
take-
Don't take in
no,
too
no,
much.
Don't look at everything.
No,
and
it's like
oh
if
my
I
God.
had like a bottle of this size of water, I cannot drink all of that, but I
Yes.
can drink a little bit. So you
Yeah,
just
I
drink
see.
a little bit.
Go slowly.
Yeah, go
Yes.
slowly. Yeah.
Okay.
It takes time. Like
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 7 years, a third of my life. So, so you need to be patient, and you will fail a lot.
Yeah.
I have failed a lot, but you need to learn to fail and to learn from those mistakes.
Has there been any video that it failed that it didn't get uploaded on your channel?
No, I think I upload everything because it's nice to see. Maybe I don't like it,
But you just want to see the
but maybe some people will like it, and maybe in 1 year when I watch it again, I can. Sometimes I like that video because it had something. I didn't like it at the time, but maybe in 1 year I will like it. If I made it, I love it. Yeah.
That's a good mindset. You mentioned that you have to fail a lot.
Yeah.
What's your biggest failure? The one that stands out to you the most?
Man, that's a very difficult question. My biggest failure. I don't know. I think my biggest failure is before my break, I used to repeat the same formula over and over again, just for the sake of
Attention.
the algorithm. The videos used to do so well. Like it was like the customization.
custom
era.
iPad.
Yeah.
Custom,
So I will just do that, and I wish I'm thankful because that attention also got me where I am now. But I wish I didn't abuse that formula that much. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. You have to be thankful
Yeah.
for that Gawx, because if he didn't do that, you wouldn't learn from it, right? So there's no regret. It's just a matter of, I wanted to see what that failure was for you, because I'm sure other people can relate. You know, there's so many people who start out, well, we did the same thing, for fuck's sake. Yeah. You start out, one type of video works, and you use it and use it and use it and use it because you like the attention. That's okay. But then it's important to understand it, reflect, take a break, and then figure out your own style eventually.
Yeah.
So and there's no problem. Failures are necessary if you're trying to learn.
Yeah, of course.
If you don't fail, you will never learn.
Yeah, of course. You need to fail to grow. If you don't fail, nothing is like flowers and beautiful sunset. No. It's you have your like sad days, and those are important to build the good ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is though, when the sad days are happening, in that moment, it's hard to think of this.
Yeah.
You know, the moment where you're actually failing on that day, it's kind of hard to have the straight mindset and said, you know what, I think I can handle this. That's the difficult part.
Yeah.
What do you use to help you in those days? Is it the dogs? Do you have?
I live alone now. So it's,
Without the dogs?
I used to. Well, when I used to live with my parents, I used to have my 3 dogs.
3 dogs,
Yeah, they are crazy. But now I live alone in a different city. So what I do now, I think I just listen to music and try to do something unrelated. I think hobbies are very important. Something that you don't, not related to work at all. So I try to do that. I like climbing, so I go rock climbing. So
I see. Okay.
I go for a walk, stuff like that, and it usually works.
Wow.
It's just you just need time to disconnect a little bit. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the approach of starting a new video, because when someone look at your video when it's finished, it has so many pieces, and someone can think, how did you even get started on this? What was the first step? How do you get the idea? How do you start storyboarding? Of course, all the way to the edit. If you want to start a video tomorrow, how would you start it?
Well, the first thing I do is I have this notebook. I call it the
Notebook of everything?
The
Everything notebook.
I take it with me almost everywhere, and I
Did you bring it to Dubai?
Yeah, but I think it's in the hotel.
No, that's okay.
You don't want it now.
Yeah, I just
We
want
are coming back to your hotel. We are taking it.
It would have been good to bring it, because I'm doing a workshop, so I will show it to
I love that.
So anything that comes to mind, I just write it down. And when it's time to come up with an idea, it usually, like now, all of my videos are sponsored. So many of the ideas come from the sponsor. Like I build them around the sponsorship, because I have learned that the sponsor should complement the video, and the video should complement the sponsor. So it's a planning. You need to plan it, how that will work. But if it's not sponsored, I just watch a lot of stuff on YouTube or movies. It's like my inspiration time, and then I try to come up with something new. And once I have it, I create like a deck in which I lay out all of the parts of the video and how I will approach them. I write the script. I now do the voiceover before even shooting.
Wow.
I see.
Sometimes I even storyboard the whole video, and then I shoot. But that has changed a lot. I used to just have an idea in mind and just go for it and build it as I was thinking about it. But now the videos have gotten so complex that it requires planning, or I will not be able to do it. Yeah.
It sounds very complex.
Yeah,
and that's why for me and Farah trying to figure this out, the storyboards, what do they look like? Is it you drawing out scenes? Because that's like the usual storyboard. You got the little boxes, and then you're sketching out what the angles look like. Or no, you're writing it out? Or are you scripting it and then deciding what that's going to look like later on?
Well, once I script the whole video, I write the script, I do a voiceover recording, and I put temporary music on. So I have sort of the rhythm and pacing of the video. And over that, I imagine how will the video look.
I see.
And I draw each shot.
Okay.
Draw it.
Yeah.
For the last one, it was like 300 drawings.
No.
But they are very simple. It's like almost stick figure. Almost stick figure.
Yeah,
Like,
but 300, man.
300 stick
it was
figures.
like a
300
day.
stick figures.
It was like a day of storyboarding
Holy shit.
because it was a very tight deadline. It
I
was
see.
like 10 days.
10 days for the whole
That's
video.
a laptop video, right? That was the latest video that you posted.
Yeah, it was it's 2 parts. It's the
Yeah,
last one.
yes,
It's like
yeah.
a short documentary.
Yes, yes.
So I only had around 10 days to shoot and edit.
Wow.
So I had, so I drew the whole video so that when I was shooting, I knew exactly. I didn't have to think. Like I knew exactly where to put the camera and what shots.
Yeah.
And I had like a checklist.
Mhm.
So for my tight deadlines, I do that. And now I do it almost always because it helps me. Now I do it a little bit more rough. So I have more freedom to think about shots when I am shooting.
Mhm.
But it helps me a lot. And it's very simple. Just it doesn't matter if you can draw. If you understand what you have on the page, it could be like a circle and a dot. But if you understand it, that's great. It's for you.
Wow.
The whole idea is to have a plan,
Yeah,
right?
it's to have
Yeah.
a plan. Yeah,
As long as you understand the plan,
yeah, it's for
it's
you.
good. Yeah.
If you have someone else, then he needs to, or she needs to
They
understand
want
it
to
too.
understand what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
What is this circle?
You mentioned that a lot of your videos are sponsored now.
Yeah,
And I think one of the biggest challenges for creators or artists is to bring in a sponsor and then still stay authentic in their videos. A lot of the times it's just the video and then the sponsor.
And cut to the sponsor.
Completely
Yeah.
separate, right? Then you have creators who are trying hard to bring in the sponsor in there, try to mix them in, they make it a little bit funny. But then your videos, I don't even fucking know that they're sponsored. I'm watching your videos, me and Farah are like, oh fuck, oh, I realize it now. This is the
SSD. Yeah,
sponsor.
this is the SSD. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Perfectly integrated. Yeah.
thank you.
Why did you start doing this in the beginning? I have never seen anybody go as crazy and as insane as your level when it comes to making the sponsors cool.
Yeah.
Because usually, audience, I don't want to fucking know about the sponsor. I want to see Gawx.
Yeah.
But then with you, it's like, I wish more sponsors come in because that means more videos.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're making it so cool. They're part of the video. Why did you make that decision?
Well, first when I was younger, like, and I started getting my first sponsors, I felt a little bit guilty. Like, oh, I don't know. I will put an ad on my video. So I tried to make it as interesting to see as possible, so that the audience enjoys it, so they enjoy the whole video. And I really like to maintain the quality during the whole video. And the sponsor segment, now I have a lot of fun with it because how do I integrate this into the story? And how do I make it watchable? It's almost like making a commercial, like making a spec commercial. And it's very challenging as well because you have this brand, maybe it could be very different to what you usually sponsor. I always check that they are like good to
Like a
add to
legit
my
brand.
videos. Yeah. So for example, if you one time I did a sponsor for a robot that cleans like a cleaning robot. And it is very fun because it's a challenge. How do you promote that and how do you add that to the story? And that's the fun thing to do. And I love it. I think those challenges are great.
It's great that when you integrate sponsors to your video, not only it doesn't reduces from the video, it adds.
Oh, thank you.
And it gives the trust to the audience. I think, and people usually when they like a creator, they will trust the sponsors too. Tim Ferriss did an experience on his podcast where he cut out all the sponsors. Whereas he thought his audience would be happy, but his audience wasn't happy at all. And they asked him to bring it back, even though there were 1 minute sponsor section. The reason was the audience said, we trust Tim Ferriss. We know he will do his research. We know he will be authentic. So we want to know about the products that he's promoting. So I think the same thing applies to you when you go above and beyond creating a video, 12 minute, 14 minute, it really shows your authenticity with that video.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, that's a crazy story. I didn't know about it. But yeah, and I think it also adds to the story. It's like it's because there are 2 types of sponsor. The integration, which is like a 1 minute, like a 1 to 2 minutes ad in the video. or la dedicated video, which is the whole video is around that product. But now with my content, the line is a little bit blurry because I try to integrate the product as smoothly as possible. And it's like a challenge. How do I make the people people don't even know it's sponsored? You need to disclose it, of course.
Yes,
I disclose it. But I think they add like a short break in the story as well, like a time to breathe. And then you go back.
How much flexibility do the sponsors give you? Since they know your style now, how
And
much
you can go
flexibility-
crazy sometimes.
Yeah, how much flexibility do they give you when it comes to storyboarding?
Well, I almost always get a lot of creative freedom.
Nice.
It also depends on which sponsors. There are some bigger campaigns and some smaller ones. But usually, and that's also thanks to Kevin, rather, to my team, my two-man team, Kevin. Usually we get full creative control.
That's amazing.
I love that.
That's amazing. I want to talk about creative blocks.
Okay.
And especially now that you mentioned you had to do something in 10 days, or sometimes when you work with sponsors, there is a campaign, there is a set date.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit a block for an idea or for a process, how do you deal with that creative block?
Well, if I have time, I like to distract myself from the project. I like to, maybe I make a video for my second channel, for my third channel, or I go for a walk, or I go to the cinema with my brother. And if I don't have time, then I try to block that out and I just finish it.
You try to block the block?
I try to block.
How do you block the block?
It usually works with so much. When you have so much pressure, you just go forward.
Force it.
Force it.
Yeah, but I like to just, like, my best way to deal with creative block is to do something completely unrelated to that project.
I think that actually perfectly brings us to the next question.
Okay.
You mentioned 10 days. Well, you had a sponsor. It makes perfect sense. If there's no sponsor in a video, or if you have your own freedom to choose, how do you define a deadline? Because your videos can go fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You've got 300 stick man, and then you've got all the angles. For instance, the video where you were talking about lighting,
Yeah.
you're literally testing out all the different lighting angles, all the colors. I'm like, how many setups did you do?
Yeah.
So how do you define a deadline for yourself so that you don't spend 2 years on a video?
It can go crazy. I could still find stuff that I can rework. I normally announce the video. I say, I'm gonna post a video this day
That's
at
smart.
this time.
Accountability.
Yeah,
So
that's
now
smart.
everyone has the expectation, and if I don't post on that date, no one will watch it. They are expecting it, and I don't want to fail. So to my audience, so I just announce it, and I don't even have it finished, and I announce it, and I set that deadline, and now I need to finish it.
This is like at storyboarding time, you're announcing the video? Or when you have the idea?
No. Usually, like a rough announcement when I have already the pre-production. I say, okay, I'm gonna post a video this month, and I post it. And now when I'm finishing or working in the 70%, I set a date, a new video this day at this time, and now I need to finish it that day at that time.
Making yourself accountable in front. We should do that actually sometimes.
I think that's actually really good.
The crazy thing about, especially on the editing part, is that you can spend so much time on a 1 minute video, whereas your videos are sometimes 12 to 14 minutes. It's very hard to define a timeline.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take your advice. From now on, this is
Great.
what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to announce
decision.
from now on, it's actually happening. Because it's good to have accountability.
Yeah.
You know, it is very difficult as an artist to draw that line and say, this is where I will stop. Because you always want your work to look better, to feel better. And you always know there's more potential. So it's very hard to say this is done. I know some people who are good at it. They can easily say, you know what, this is done. I can say this is over. You guys can look at it. Yeah. And then there's people who can never say that. But the problem is, as an artist, if you are the second type, if you never really can finish your work, then it's very hard for you to grow as an artist. At some point, you have to put your work out there. Yeah. And so I think this is one of the biggest challenges. And it's very good that you have a strategy in mind.
Yeah. I didn't play it as a strategy. I used to be when I was younger, I'm still young, but when I was younger, I used to be so excited. I will post this video. So I used to announce it. And every time I hit the deadline, like I didn't sleep for 2 days just to finish because I announced it. So that kind of sticked with it. And now that's my way of setting myself deadlines and making them public.
You mentioned that you're getting your inspiration a lot from the movies that you watch at the cinema or at home, old movies, of course. You
also new ones, some new ones.
Also new ones. But you also travel around. Some of your videos are in Korea, some in Japan.
Right.
How much inspiration have you gotten from traveling?
I think a lot. Like it's getting to know all these different cultures. Like it's one of the most rewarding things. You see how people from the other side of the world live, how they behave, and their culture as well. What type of art they are into. And I think that is really inspiring. For example, when I went to Japan, everyone is very quiet and reserved and they talk quietly. So I try to apply that not only to my videos to be more calm, but also to how I behave, like being more respectful. And
Wow.
yeah, I think that's like traveling, and you can also do it, travel inside of your country, is one of the most rewarding things you can do.
Most impactful travel, was it Japan?
Oh, Japan, of course. Yeah.
Really? Everybody
says that.
I have never
Can we freaking go to Japan
Yeah, we've
already?
never been to Japan.
Yeah.
We've never met anybody from different genres of life.
Yeah.
Party people, artists, CEOs. Nobody dislikes Japan.
I don't know, it's
Everybody
incredible.
loves
It's
Japan.
incredible. It's an incredible.
We should go this year.
Can you please go? It's embarrassing. Okay?
Which city did you go to?
Sorry?
Which city of Japan? Is it Tokyo?
Well, the first time I went, I have been twice.
Oh, twice.
Yeah, it was last year. No, 2 years ago because we're in
Okay.
2025 now.
Yeah.
In 2023, I did the stereotype. I did Tokyo, Nara, Kyoto, Osaka,
Yeah.
and Hiroshima. I also did Hiroshima.
Oh.
Nice.
And last time I only did Tokyo.
Okay.
And I mean, you could be in Tokyo 1 year and not get bored.
Wow.
What do you like most about Japan? Is it the food? Is it the
I mean, the food is
Anime.
incredible. But I like the people. They are very respectful, and I like that. Like
see.
they care for the other instead of just saying, "Oh,
They're not selfish,
they're not selfish."
I see.
Yeah, and I like that.
and that's deeply embedded in the culture.
Yeah.
Right. You see that everywhere you go.
As I understand, yeah, it's like it's on their culture to care for the other and not just for yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a lot of anime before as well, so that's another reason why I want
Oh yeah,
to go.
anime is also. I don't watch a lot of anime, but when I got there, I was like, "Oh, I will watch anime." All the
Yeah,
time.
of course. When you go there, I'm sure you get inspired.
Yeah, no, of course.
We're definitely gonna go,
Yeah.
and then when we have another podcast episode, we'll tell you about how
It
the
will be
travel
the
was.
Japan
Yes.
special
Yeah.
podcast.
Just about Japan.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your unique style.
Okay.
Even if we remove the name, even if we post a video of yours into a different channel, people know that's Gawx. You have created a style that is very unique. It's unique in a way that when I search for Gawx, I'll see other people's video that they created and they say, how to edit a video like Gawx, 400,000 views.
Oh, yeah.
How anyone can create video like Gawx, 425,000 views. How do we go to a level as an artist to create such a unique style that people want to imitate?
It's also a difficult question. I think it goes naturally. Like I think the best, like the most valuable thing you can do as an artist is finding your own voice and your own style. And the way I did that is just by, I wouldn't say copying other people, but stealing stuff.
Feel like an artist.
Still like an artist. Yeah. For example, my videos, I started using a lot of classical music, and now it's part of my style, the
Yes.
Gawx style. And I got that from Kubrick movies, from Stanley Kubrick. He used to be such a classical music fan, and I was scared because like who uses classical music on their videos on YouTube? Like that's for old people. And that's what I used to think. That's what I used to think. But it gives like a timeless sense to a timeless vibe to the video. So I think just experimenting and grabbing stuff that you see consuming a lot of content, consuming a lot of content that you will normally not consume, and applying certain things to that. So, and it takes time. Like it takes a lot of time. I'm still building my style and changing it a little bit. So yeah, I think it's a constant evolving process, but you need to experiment. Like, you cannot build a style if you don't experiment, because if you experiment, you will find stuff that you would normally not find.
At what point do you think you have fallen in the same trap before your break, where you are reusing a style that you've seen? Because if you see great directors too, sometimes at the peak, they'll stop doing something in a certain way and then they'll reinvent themselves. At what point do you think you'll have to look at yourself and be like, wait, am I using this too much? Am I doing this effect way too many times now? And I need to reinvent again? I feel like it's like a cycle and it goes up and down again.
I think when I'm starting to get a little bit tired, like when I'm not excited about a video or when I'm too comfortable, it's when you need to change things.
That's a good one. Yeah, I think comfort.
Yeah.
Like if you reach that state of comfort and you don't feel challenged.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. I think that's a good idea.
I think the biggest challenge is how do you balance that with the audience? If audience really like that, if people want that, if people want Haze in Gawx's video and he doesn't want to use Haze machine anymore, where do you draw the line? Should I go with my own flow and my style, or should I listen to my audience?
Well, I always put, like, the main thing is for me to enjoy what I do. So if people don't like it, well, it's my video.
So do you get hate or negative? Do you get hate or negative?
Well, sometimes I get like I miss the old Gawx. Like I miss when you.
Oh, dude, everybody gets that, bro.
Yeah,
everyone gets that comment.
And because there's two types of hate. There's like the angry person that only says bad things.
Yes.
And I don't care about them. I mean, I don't care. They can say mean things, and I don't.
They had a bad day. They're just commenting something
but
negative.
The people who are clearly fans and they give a negative comment, that one is the one I listen to the most. I try to create my videos for myself and for something that I believe and I like to make, because that's the main thing. If I like to create, and then think about the audience. I try to do that as little as possible. And I also think that's why my videos have stayed a little more authentic, because I do it for myself. It sounds so selfish, but I wouldn't watch like a video. I make a video if I was the only person in the world. Like I don't know if I would make videos for myself. Of course, people for me to sit and watch them. But
okay, Gawx, I made a video for you. Time to watch.
yeah. I mean, I really enjoy making the videos, but the audience is important.
Yes.
But you need to put yourself first and do something that you are passionate about.
That's a good fucking point. Would we have a podcast if there was no other human being in this world?
Just do the
we're
podcast.
doing it selfishly for us because we want to learn, but it's for the people.
Yeah,
right? It's the same thing for you. If you don't do it for you, then yes, one, it's not authentic. But then if you're not enjoying the process, then you're not going to spend that extra hour setting up 2 more angles so that you have a nicer video. That's why you always have to be enjoying the process. Same thing with all the great directors, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times they get
artists,
music artists, when they switch a genre, completely switch to a different genre, their old fan base is like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Go back. You are not meant to change genres. This is not how we see you. I was watching another podcast with Matthew McConaughey, the actor, and he also switched, right? He used to do rom-com, and everybody saw him as the rom-com guy, the romantic comedy guy. And no one supported his decision to change. But then when he made that switch and he really worked hard at it, boom, we saw him in other movies that he did great in, completely different genres. It goes back to you having to prove it to everyone that if you are making this decision, I'm going to be even better. So watch me. Yeah. So I think that's important. If you go and change and then you fail, then everyone's going to be like, see, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you.
But
go
you
back to your old
something
style.
from that. Yeah.
Yes. So it's tricky, but you have. I think.
But if you
necessary.
don't enjoy it, it's not even sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not sustainable. How are you gonna make thousands of videos if you don't even enjoy doing it?
Yeah.
Even if everybody loves it.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, I wouldn't like. It needs to be natural. Like, don't change for the sake of changing. And for example, tomorrow I wouldn't do like a haircut tutorial video. That would be crazy. But it's a slow transition. Maybe sometimes you do something more risky and you change more things. But it's a slow. Like, do it as you slowly progress and grow and mature.
I mean, if you ever want to do the haircut tutorial, I can give you my hair. You can try it on me.
Okay, I have my
that
model.
video, that video will get good amount of views, I think. Not a bad idea.
We talked a lot about different ways that you approach your creative lifestyle. We talked a lot about your past. We talked a lot about how you approach videos today in 2025. But let's imagine someone watching right now who is as creative as you are, who has dreams as big as yours. We need to talk about your dreams, by the way, after this, because I mean, I want to see how big they are.
Yeah.
If that person is watching right now and they want to be like you, in a sense, they want to have the same level of success. They want an audience that appreciates and praises their artwork, be it images, videos, music, whatever it is, any artistic field. What advice do you have for that person starting from zero?
Starting from zero. First, consume a lot. And be careful with what you consume. Like,
Not alcohol, right?
No. Like content. Content. No. Alcohol. No. Don't do that stuff. Watch. The first of all is watching. Like watching different movies, listening to music, watching different music videos, and like going to museums, seeing art, reading. I'm not a good reader, but I'm trying my best. So just consume a lot. And let yourself be inspired and know that it takes time, a lot of time. Be patient. Experiment, because I think that's one of the biggest things I value is experimentation. And don't be afraid to fail, because with those failures you learn, and with those learnings you grow. It's like you experiment, you fail, you learn, and then you experiment again, but already knowing why you failed, and you grow. And stay true to yourself.
What would be your advice in terms of posting on social media?
Okay.
What do you think would be the right channel?
Well, I am a long form fan, so I would say long form, but whatever they feel it's best for them, I would say do it. Don't do it because you want to get so much money, get so many followers. I don't think that's the right motivation. Of course, it's a motivation to make a living out of it, but go for a more like not to say artistic, but because it doesn't have to be artistic, but go for something that you feel that will give you the most value in terms of growth, not monetary or follower, like personal growth. And do that. If short form is for you, then try short form. And if long form is for you, then try long form. But you can try both and see which one you like the most. Yeah.
Since we talked about the dream, I want to know, what is your biggest dream?
Well, my biggest dream is to become a director like Abbas Kiarostami.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. A feature film.
Feature film, yeah.
Okay.
Good feature film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas for it yet, or
I kind of, yeah.
Is it in
Is it the
everything
notebook?
notebook?
Everything
or
notebook?
like-
There are some ideas in the Everything Notebook. That's like a goal for this year to start making short films, because you need to start with short films. Well, not necessarily, but I'm not gonna make like a whole 2-hour film right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. And for example, those first short films will probably fail because I have never done that before. So yeah, my dream is to become a good director like Abbas Kiarostami. I think that's my goal.
Wow, that's amazing. So now that we are talking about your dream, what's your favorite software and application that you use now?
Software and applications.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Well, I couldn't live without DaVinci Resolve and Premiere, because those are my tools.
Okay.
But the one I've been using the most right now, and it's funny because I discovered them because they not I'm okay with it, but they use my videos my shots as their promotional stuff
Right.
on Instagram, like they without permission, but I'm okay with it.
Who is this?
I'm not calling them out. It's just
I think I know. I think it's one of the videos that I read. I think probably.
I
I
don't
think
know.
so.
It's Opal.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
It's an app that blocks certain apps.
Yes.
I see.
And you can-
like a focus concentration.
Yeah, I
app.
love it. I love that app. Yeah, I love
try
it.
that.
Took their video and then he loves their software.
No, I love their app, and it's funny that they use my videos because it's like, and I'm flattered that they use it because it's if you want to get like this life without social media, and they put my video.
Your video to be blocked by the app, right?
No, my video. No, myself to be like a peaceful life. Like
Okay,
family.
okay,
So
okay.
that's funny. Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. I've heard of the app, but I don't think I've used it.
It's great. Yeah,
Okay, I
it's
think
great.
we
Yeah.
need that sometimes.
But speaking of taking videos, there was a team that took our videos, translated into Russian.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah, mine as
started-
well, mine as
yeah,
well.
they started selling it. We are
Oh,
not even
wow.
selling our tutorials are for free. So someone translated it into Russian, and our Russian friend said, "Hey, you guys are selling it in Russian." I was like, "No, we are not. We don't even speak Russian." So they are selling it. I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, I also have had my videos translated to Russian. And there's also this app called Bilibili, which is like a
Billy.
because on China they don't have YouTube as far as I know.
yeah.
So there's this alternative, and one time a person sent me a video in Bilibili of mine that they translated to Chinese, and it's doing so even better than the one on YouTube. And that was so crazy.
Can you imagine if that person, I'm assuming they're Chinese, they monetized your video and they're making like hundreds of thousands of dollars using your
In
video?
China, the 2 billion population, of course.
That would be fucking nuts.
That would be crazy, but I don't encourage that. But good for him if
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't really control all of this, right?
No, of course not.
It's way too fast and there's too many. And as you're going to grow, it's going to be harder for you to control all of it. I want to talk a lot. No, not talk a lot. I actually want to talk a little bit about this because I know that it's not the most important topic, but I know a lot of people watching and listening are interested. What's your favorite camera?
Oh, the FX3 for sure.
Favorite? Sorry, please.
And for photos, the Fuji X100B. I'm a simple guy. I like the trending stuff.
I like that.
Yeah.
Favorite lens?
The Sigma 30mm f1.4, but for APS-C.
Oh, and you put that on the FX3?
Yeah, it gives a crazy look.
Okay.
Yeah, like it gives you a lot of imperfections, which look nice. It almost looks anamorphic.
Yes. We were talking about this just
Yeah,
before the
yeah,
podcast. If you have imperfections in your lens, sometimes they are the best look that you can have for like that filmic vibe.
Yeah,
that you're going
imperfections
for.
are great in general. Of course, not that like too big imperfections, but that's why film has that magic because it's imperfect. It has grain and the colors look funny and sometimes you have light leaks, but that makes the beauty of it.
Favorite light?
Oh, the Amaran 300C is crazy. I love it.
And you use that in, I'm assuming, most of your shots?
Yeah, and
to
most
light
of
your
it.
subject?
Yeah.
Yourself mostly, right? I'm
Yeah, and it's very powerful and it's RGB, so you can make crazy. For example, for the night scenes, I put it in blue and bounce it on the light, and you get that like early morning type of feel.
Yeah.
So I love it. Yeah.
I love that.
Your videos have great music and
you.
soundtracks. Where do you get those? I know some of them has been made by your dad, right?
By my brother.
By your
my
brother, yes.
Yeah. My brother made
All of it?
No.
Okay.
No. Some of it is made by my brother, and some of it, most of it, I get it from. I have the three main. I use the three: Epidemic, Artlist, and MusicBed. And I have found that in MusicBed you get the most. They have a great classical music selection and jazz as well. So I use that one the most, but I also use the other two.
I mean, must help to have, now that you're saying three musicians, because if your brother's doing it too and your mom and dad were musicians,
Oh, yeah.
you get all this inspiration from
Yeah,
them.
of
It's
course.
like, I have this video, I need to know what music to put.
Yeah,
I'm
of
assuming
course.
they help
I
a lot with that.
always, my dad always helped me with the music selection. I edit a section, and I send it to him, and I tell him, "What do you think about this music?" And sometimes he says it's horrible. Because I think
Sometimes it's
I think it's very important for someone to give you feedback without worrying how you will feel about it.
Yes.
And my dad and my brother does that. They do that, and my mom as well do that a lot. I mean,
It's shit.
yeah,
change it.
And that's great. That's great because you get like feedback,
Honest feedback.
honest feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Critical
honest
feedback, yeah.
yeah. Sometimes I send it to a friend that always says, "Oh, this is great," to just reassure myself.
Yeah.
But it's valuable to have like honest feedback.
Do you use any AI tools in your workflow?
Yeah, I use. I was talking with Kevin earlier. I use a lot ChatGPT, but not for work. I use it, for example, the other day I was asking if I ate so many fried eggs, if the cholesterol would hurt me when I was older.
No, it won't hurt you. You can eat as much as you want.
But I don't use it for work. I use it for like personal advice.
Yeah.
But the one I use Photoshop's generative fill.
That's
a
really
lot.
good.
I love it.
Yeah.
For example, if I have a frame here and the light is on frame, I use it to remove it.
Yeah.
With AI. And
In
that's
like
great.
half a second.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's incredibly good.
that's
I
incredible.
love the Photoshop Gen AI. There's so much AI tools out there, but the ones that are the most useful are the ones that are integrated within the softwares that we already use.
Of course.
So the one in Photoshop is perhaps the most useful.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you can go to Midjourney and create all these sick images. You can edit in Midjourney now too. But having it in Photoshop where you're already editing your photos, in my opinion, is the best. I think
of
you agree too.
One of my favorites is 11 Labs, the voice
Oh, yeah, that's really
generation.
good. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen
No,
that
I would
one.
thought you would actually use
What
it.
is it?
Basically, you will give audio files of your own voice and it will clone your voice. And
Oh,
then you
wow.
can use text to voice. So when you are doing a video, imagine in the middle, you have done your voiceover, you want to change one spot, you don't want to do the voiceover, you will just say, for example, say, I move the camera from here to here, and then it will say it in your voice.
Oh, wow.
Or
that's
alternatively, you said you do test music, temporary music in the beginning before you actually finish your videos. So imagine you can do test voiceover. So without doing it yourself,
That's
you can
great.
write everything and then it's there. And then you can do the actual one the way you want it later on.
Oh,
I think that's
that's-
also good.
Actually, that's even
a
that's
great
even
idea,
more
yeah.
useful.
for pre-production.
Yeah, it's a great idea for planning.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna know that I'm gonna rewatch the podcast, write down the stuff. Yeah, but Gen AI. That's the one I use the most, and I think AI is it's a crazy topic. AI.
Yeah.
It's a controversial as
big.
well, but some of the tools, if you use it not to replace the creative stuff, but to enhance it. And as a technical tool, I think it's very powerful.
But you have seen that it's been growing so fast. 2 years ago, we only had image. Now they are creating videos. And you're just starting out. You are 21. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I cannot even imagine where it's going to be.
Oh yeah, it's gonna
Have you watched The Terminator?
I have watched it. But for example, like the Photoshop Gen AI for video in Premiere,
Oh,
I think they are making it. But
Yes.
for example, if I could remove, if I have, I don't know, if I had this black shirt and I wanted a red one moving, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Or for rotoscoping, that kind of VFX kind of stuff, that's crazy. And I think that would be
You're absolutely right. I mean, when it comes to replacing humans, it does sound scary,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And I don't want to talk about that part yet.
Okay.
I think it's something that we have to wait and see how it goes.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the actual tools, I saw that Google has this assistant now that can watch your screen, and as you're working within a software, it can help you use the software. So say you're in After Effects
yeah.
and you're writing the expressions.
Yeah.
You want to try something new and cool. You don't know how to do it. It's watching your screen, and then you tell it, hey, how do I make the text wiggle on my screen? And it'll tell you, oh, go here, write down the expression wiggle, and then in the parentheses, put the values. That is fucking useful.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Especially as you use harder software. I like that.
It's like having a technical teacher who knows everything.
Yes, exactly.
But does it really teach you, or you're just following now?
But I think you learn if you just follow.
But what if one day it just does it on
Does
its own?
it?
It's like
It will say
it's like,
wiggle.
Gawx, stop touching the computer. Let me
No,
just do it
it's sometimes
myself.
so. When he's really good at color grading, and
Thank
when
you.
I try
Awesome.
to do it,
Yeah.
when I put my hand on the mouse, he's like, okay, let me do it. Move, let me
Yeah.
do it. That could happen exactly in this case. Like, can you move? Let me do it for you.
I think that, for example, what the Gen AI does, that removing the microphone, for example, if it was a still frame, like before AI, there's people who were, or that was a technical skill that you would need to learn. For example, like replacing my shirt with the same color and shading. And I think the creative tasks are very difficult to replace, but the more technical stuff, for example, doing that, I didn't know how to do it. Now I do it with just one click. I think those technical tasks, I'm not saying that they are worthless. Of course, not the people who do it. I mean, it's crazy because there are sometimes imperfections with AI. It's always better if you do it by hand. But if you don't have like the budget or the knowledge or the time to learn, like doing that with one click is crazy.
And I think the older you are, the harder it is to deal with the whole AI conversation. The younger you are, the less you care. Like if you talk about 12-year-olds now, when they grow, they don't care that you had to click 10 times to remove the microphone. They just want to remove the microphone. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the younger generation, they're all for AI. I can guarantee if you talk to anybody in schools right now, they're like, fuck yes, I want AI in everything I do.
It wrote all the essays. So
yeah,
they don't
all
have,
the essays.
We used to write essays.
I wish I had ChatGPT in
when
school.
we were in school.
This school system has to change. With ChatGPT around, I think
it's easy to recognize now.
There are tools that they will recognize.
Won't recognize.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
you have to submit to something that it will recognize. But again, at the end of the day, when everybody is using it, then there is no point of having it. I wanted to ask about this question that a lot of people are learning from you, like the videos that we mentioned. A lot of people getting inspired from you. Where do you learn your stuff and your skills?
From YouTube as well.
YouTube, right?
From YouTube and from, again, coming back to from movies behind the scenes. You learn how to do certain shots, but mainly from YouTube. Yeah.
So, for example, softwares. How did you learn all of this software that you're using? DaVinci,
After Effects and all
on YouTube, I just search. First, you kind of learn how to do it on your own, like the basic tools. And for example, if you need to do something really specific, like masking yourself to add your clones, you'll watch a tutorial and learn how to do it with that tutorial. And with that tutorial, now you build your skill set. Now you have that in your like skill set tool, like the masking. And from the masking, maybe you also learned how to, I don't know, how to blend stuff. And with that tutorial, you learned masking and blending. And then if you need to rotoscope, you learn how to move a sequence from Premiere to After Effects and to rotoscope. So you add those two skills, and that's how I like kind of build my skill set.
I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube tutorials are the best way to learn anything in life. Even if you want to become a doctor, I think you can learn heart surgeries on that.
Don't try.
The only thing you can't do is that.
I think that maybe in the future.
No, but generally speaking, in our field, like editing, cinematography, 2D work, 3D work, coding, I don't do much of that, but just talking about fields that are similar. Yeah. You can learn all of that on YouTube. Yeah,
the creative tasks are very like accessible to learn on YouTube.
And I love that.
Yeah,
nobody could have done that 30 years ago.
No.
You needed to go to university for that.
Yeah, of course.
You don't need to do that now. And I think that's the best thing about it.
Yeah. For example, in film, there's that debate. Should you really go to university if you can learn almost everything outside of it? Not saying because you also go to film school to get connections and to work with people.
Yes.
To be with people that they are all studying film. So you are in this film environment. But with the technical skills, you can do that on your own and on YouTube and by experimenting on your own. So it's like a debate.
We spoke with directors before, and some of the best directors, they just grabbed the fucking camera and then they shot.
And they did it. Yeah.
They shot. If you want the connections, you're right.
A lot of them also talked about the connections. And the only reason they went to film school was for the connections because they could get job right after the school.
If you know what you want to do, I think grabbing a camera is just easier. But Gawx, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, honestly. And we're so happy that you came to Dubai so we could do this in person.
No, this is wonderful, and I could go on forever. This is such a fun conversation.
So how many more hours do you want to do?
Let's do another 3 hours.
We hope that you enjoyed Dubai.
I will, yeah.
Would love to do this again later.
When you come back.
Yes.
Yeah, now we'll see if the field now has buildings.
Has buildings,
and
yes.
how you like Japan.
Yes. And also maybe we'll have robotic arms and everything, but then AI has
maybe
created like
we have
bionic arms, the glasses.
the eye with stuff. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very
you,
much.
guys.
This has been a pleasure. And thank you for everyone who watched.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Ciao.
Ciao.